The following program contains the opinions of the host, guests, and call-in participants. These do not necessarily represent the views of this show's distributors or sponsors. This program may contain obscene, profane, or otherwise objectionable language. Viewer discretion is advised. Howdy ho, everybody. Coming to you cordless from Northeast Minneapolis. It's Monday night, May 19th, 2025. I am Jim Peters, and welcome to another edition of Jim Peters at Night. This is episode number 229, if you're keeping score at home, and you should. I hope you had a nice weekend. Now, we missed the last two shows, Wednesday and Thursday of last week, very suddenly. I'm going to explain later in part two what happened here. It's kind of unusual. That's all I can say right now. Our guest tonight is Don Zorro, our good friend. You know him, and you love him. Intelligence operative, lover of women. I think he goes over on the weekends to the Middle East and kills people. I'm not really quite sure. Something like that. But anyway, yeah, he's joined us. He's our guest tonight. Tomorrow, we have Ryan McDermott. He's a former, hold on a second. I want to make sure I get this absolutely right. He's a former senior Pentagon official and an Iraq vet, and he wrote a book called Downriver Memoir of a Warrior Poet. Book's just come out. It's apparently quite eloquent. He's had an interesting past. He came back from the Iraq War, became a stockbroker for Lehman Brothers, and then, of course, it folded. So it'll be going to be interesting talking to him. He's got an interesting take on things. Wednesday, Miriam Heinen is going to be here. She's written a book called Operation George Floyd, a multi-layered psyop exposed. It's about the George Floyd riots in Minneapolis of 2020, and I'm sitting here and I'm in Minneapolis, so this is a particular interest to me personally. It'll be interesting to see what she has to say. I pretty much know already what she does have to say, and she thinks the whole thing was a big scam. And of course it was, but we'll hear it from her. She did the research. I haven't done the research. Thursday, Tim Conaway's here, former executive editor of Hustler magazine. He joins us, always has a humorous take on stuff, especially journalism. I'm looking forward to hearing about that. Monday, we're taking off for Memorial Day, and Tuesday, the day after Memorial Day, military historian Jonathan Lockwood makes his second appearance on the show. He's going to be a regular. We're going to drag him out here every few weeks in case there's stuff going on in international relations, and there is. And we're going to talk with him about the war in Ukraine and also about the India-Pakistan situation, which temporarily at least looks like it's been kiboshed, but we'll see. That'll be really interesting. We're going to take phone calls tonight. Matter of fact, their lines are open right now. If you want to call in and talk to Don Zorro, that's great. I'm sure he'd love to take your phone call. I think, but he's going to anyway. So let's get right to him, shall we? Let's do what we got to do here. Push some buttons. Here we go. Mr. Zorro, hello.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Did you just refer to me as Don Zero?
No, I didn't. No.
I could swear my magnificent ears heard that, but fine.
No.
You'll be spared what happens to the people in the Mideast. Speaking of my most recent assignments.
I knew a woman who worked for the FBI, and basically, as far as I could tell, she couldn't tell me what she did, but she went over and killed people on the weekends.
Oh, female body inspectors.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing really well. I'm happy to say, it's spring. Green is now my favorite color. It is absolutely gorgeous outside, and in Minnesota. I mean, the weather's been rather interesting of late. We've had a bit of rain, but God, nothing like those folks in St. Louis and up and down in Texas. Huh? That's pretty awful stuff.
That's true. I should point out, you're basically just across the town from us here. We're both here in Minneapolis. And we've already had 80-degree days and even a 90-degree day, and it's not even June.
Well, what do they say about Minnesota? If you don't like the weather, wait a minute.
That's right. That's right. All right. Well, you're not suffering from prostate cancer, are you?
Good Lord. In fact, I got some really good numbers back from my most recent physical. In fact, this is kind of odd. My numbers went down 0.1%. It was like 0.3, 0.03, I think, or 0.3, however it is. And then this year it was like 0.2. So,
I need to point out for the people watching, you're about 5-6 months away from 70. You're in ridiculously good shape, and that's partly because you practice martial arts almost obsessively. I don't know quite if that's true, but
the issue is that they won't give me weapons anymore, so I have to do everything with my bare hands and teeth. This does not happen overnight, buddy.
Yeah, well, you take.
Yeah, boy, I gotta say, I'm not one of those people that because of politics wishes ill on political foes. I was very sorry to hear that, and this doctor of his, Kevin O'Connor, this is not his first go around with being somewhat scrutinized, because of course everybody wants to know who's Biden's doctor.
Yeah,
and he came under some fire after the disaster of a debate that he had. Everybody was wondering who was the idiot who let this guy on and go, and why hasn't this guy? So I did a little digging, and I found a quote from this guy about Biden, and his quote after the or around the debate was, President Biden continues to be fit for duty and fully executes all of his responsibilities without any exemptions or accommodations.
Yeah.
Well, that's the quote I found, but the actual quote, I think, was he continues to be fit for duty and is fully shit.
Well, you had to qualify yourself. I don't even think you have to qualify yourself here. No, the problem here isn't Joe Biden, actually. No. The problem is all the people around him. That's what the problem is.
Well, you'd think, Dr. Jill would have had a clue, but she's not that kind of doctor. Somebody get Whoopi Goldberg on the phone and inform her that. Look, okay, fine. So we're kind of just used to maybe making a little fun with Joe, but I wish him the very best, as I would just about anybody who had a condition like that. But I'm going to tell you the honest truth, man. I think they're putting a very positive spin on it, but I don't see how he comes out of this once it has metastasized outside of the prostate and it's in his bones. That's kind of where you live, I hate to say it, but I foresee a former presidential funeral in our futures.
It does not look good. It doesn't.
No.
Yeah, but but the problem here, I get him tired of coincidences, and what's the word I'm looking for? I'll tell you, I don't even know what the word I'm looking for. Oh, you still there, Don?
You're right. I don't know why that happened, but it did. Okay.
Yeah. I'm tired of people like making excuses. He almost certainly has had this problem for at least 2 or 3 years. There's no way that this could happen like in 2 months. It just couldn't.
Okay. So I've got a couple of ping pong balls bouncing back and forth in my head. Did he in my head? Did he or did he not say at some point, and I think it was before he got elected or shortly after he got elected, that his idea was that he was going to be a one-term transitory president?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So then the question has to be, did he know something was up then? But then he decides to run. And then he decides not to run. So whether he knew what was happening to him or whether anybody or else around him knew, this is going to be the question. I'm afraid we're going to be devoting a lot of the news cycle to how this affected his judgment for running. I mean, people say he was forced out. Okay, imagine yourself out there, listener. You are president. What power on earth is going to force you out of the presidency unless you just want to go out? And is that part of the whole, I'm going to be a one-term president? Well, then why the hell were you running for a second term? This makes, the more I think about it, the more it makes my head hurt.
The president's most powerful person on earth, and yet you're talking about who could force the president out. I'll tell you who could. His wife. I mean, that men will put up with all sorts of slings and arrows from everywhere. It's when it comes to their spouse, I don't know. You know how that works.
Right. I mean, they don't want to sleep on the couch every night.
That's right.
So it's true. But look, this is going to be fodder for all kinds of crazy conspiratorial stuff, and then some of the conspiratorial stuff will be true. So I don't know what to make out of this, other than I just say, good luck to you. God help you. God bless you. All that stuff.
That's right. But you're talking about conspiracy stuff. Jake Tapper's book comes out tomorrow, and that's like the biggest bunch of crap ever. I mean, I have to admit, part of me admires the guy's balls. It's not just so much that he's going completely against what he previously said. Everything he previously said is on videotape. The guy's on a fucking TV show.
Well, the thing is that he's so defensive when anybody calls him out on this stuff, and it's just so plain. He is the most objective, down the middle reporter that God has ever created.
Just ask him.
Just ask him. Exactly. Yes. Now there's a guy that deserves as much criticism from as many corners as possible, because this guy has managed to piss off everybody. Yeah. So you better wear a rain slicker, Jake, because it's not going to look good. Who's the other? Oh, it made me think of Comey and all this nonsense with the 8647. By the way, do you know what the 86 part stands for? I used to think that it was like when you in New York short order cook speak, when they would say 86 to salad. That's what I thought 86 meant in this context, but it means something completely different.
I read that the term originally comes from the mob, and it was supposed to be 80 miles out and 6 feet under.
Well, 8 miles out, because I think that's how far it is to the Meadowlands in New Jersey.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Right. And you're from New York, so you understand that. But apparently that's where that term comes from. And it's been used in the restaurant business for ages. And you could make an argument that, okay, it has nothing to do with killing him. It just means we want him out of office. But my problem with that, it's my personal problem with this, is that the guy was the freaking director of the FBI. He should know. He should freaking know better.
He knew. This is just nonsense.
He's just a classless asshole. I mean, there's just, I mean, I don't really care if he was really calling for I don't think, it doesn't really matter whether he was calling for the assassination of the president. It doesn't. I personally don't think it's that big a deal. But the thing is, he should know better. He should.
Well, it's just, what should we say? Had it been Trump, it would have been more than just unseemly. It would have been, something, again, talked about in the news cycle for the next God knows how long. But I don't know. These guys, I wish they would just stick to what they do and just not write books, because I think it's whenever they start to write books and they want a little more limelight so that they sell 5 more copies than they were going to. That's when they get in trouble.
And the thing is, I don't have to tell you, as a general rule, there's not a lot of money in these books. I mean, every once in a
No.
while, somebody has a monstrous hit. And I think that's what everybody's hoping for.
Well, maybe they're doing like a vanity press or something like that. They're probably paying somebody else for these books rather than the other way around.
Kindle self-publish or something,
Yeah.
Don, are you a Kindle user?
No, I am not. I have been thinking about it, but I don't think I will ever be able to get out of the idea of carrying a book with me, wanting to get on the plane and thumbing through it and going back. I don't know. I'm really very, very resistant to a lot of technology. I mean, just to use this it kind of, pulls my hairs a little bit.
Yeah.
But, what's a choice? I mean, we should be on TV, I suppose.
Yeah, we should. That's right. I'm working on it.
There you go.
Yeah, and God bless you for that, because I fought it for the longest time too. But man, it's so convenient, and we're now, especially to do this, I plow through so many books, and I just like.
Well, just on that subject, just because I know that I will touch a lot of listeners for this, I bought, let me see, a car that was made in 2020. Okay, it was in 2020. That car did not come with a CD player.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so what are we being forced into now? We have to plug into our phones and do all this. Well,
I have to ask you, Don, does it have a USB port?
Yes, it does. Oh, no. I could certainly get a CD player in there.
I'm not thinking that. I think the idea is to either plug your phone in or you plug in an actual thumb drive with music on it, one or the other.
Oh, God. No. You can't see a cover on a thumb drive. You can't see the favorite cover of your favorite CD on there. No. I think this whole thing just sucks, but that's just.
But
gonna have to get used to it.
Here's you're talking about no cover on a thumb drive. Here's my problem with this. These thumb drives have gotten so small. I have thumb drives all over the place with half a terabyte of crap on them, and I don't know what's on them because they're so small you can't label them even.
Well, we're not going to have to worry about it because the next step that's going to be is that we go to the store and then we're going to have this little port right in our skulls.
Yeah.
And they're going to kind of plug the thumb drive into that. It'll be permanently downloaded into our brains. And then whenever we want to access the music, we just say, "Sing Proud Mary," and then it'll start coming out of our asses or something like that. A little lower in pitch, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, in your youth, you were involved in the entertainment business, and yes. I think people are.
That's why I want to kill so many people.
I think more and more people are gravitating toward live performance because it's not artificial, it's not technological. It's like. I mean, even, well, I don't know about like Taylor Swift, but.
Is it true? Do you think that more people are going to live events?
Yeah.
I mean, I know I like to. That's my preference.
I think
I like going to live stuff.
Yeah. I know. You want to see people because, it's like there's always that danger that somebody will screw up royally. Usually, if you got professionals, they don't, but I think people.
I opt for live theater. There's some pretty hilarious stuff here in the Twin Cities. Some of it I don't have any time for, but then there are some other shows that are really very, very funny, very entertaining stuff. And there's nothing like being with a crowd. And that's the other thing about technology. Technology takes us away from each other.
Absolutely.
And how many of us remember? Well, why do we like to be at theaters? Because we like the experience of a laugh or a jump scare or a big gasp or something that we can all remember and say, "Oh my God, everybody in the theater just screamed at once," or something like that. And that's sadly, I hope. Well, if Rachel Zegler's experience is anything to forecast the future, did you hear that they tried to reboot this Snow White thing again. They tried to like give it a second reopening. Like,
Oh yeah,
no,
yeah.
just ignore what happened. So this time we really mean it, and it was even worse than the first time. Nobody knew.
You know that not transform was it the Transformers movie or something? They actually
No, the Minecraft.
no. This
Transformer.
the new Avengers movie. They retitled it and released it and re-released it, and it still didn't help. That just happened recently.
Wait, what are you saying? Well, I don't understand.
I think it's a Marvel Universe movie, and was it called Transformers? I can't remember.
No, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's a different crew of superhero.
Right.
Yes. So it's basically second cousin to the Avengers.
Yeah,
it's a new crew of people.
They pulled it out of theaters and retitled it and put it back, and that didn't help either. The Minecraft movie's been doing quite well, actually.
Oh, okay. Is that for kids or something?
Yeah. My friend John Nolte over at Breitbart, he says, well, that's proof that the problem isn't the fact that people don't want to go to theaters, and he's right. Every once in a while, there's a massive hit.
Right.
The problem is the product, I suppose.
Hey, you know who's doing real well? Actually, is Angel Studios. I'm happy to say.
Yeah, they are.
They are doing well. People really they have fatigue from all of the crap, and Angel Studios just says, okay, we are going to entertain you, and we're not going to shy away from violence or anything like that per se, but we're going to have stories with some kind of a message, but they don't beat you over the head with it. At least I don't think so anyway.
Don, are you yourself a moviegoer? I mean like out?
I used to be. I used to love to go to the movies. If I was able to go like every week, I would have. And in my youth, yes, I did just about every week. My friends and I were at the theater honestly, just like once a week.
Yeah.
So, and we saw everything from the Hollywood smash-ups to fun foreign films and things like that. I wonder how many people realize that before Nathan Lane and Robin Williams made The Birdcage, there was La Cage aux Folles, which was absolutely brilliant. How many people have ever heard of Das Boot? These are wonderful foreign films, and what can I say? They're good to watch.
Yeah, I am I'm a big fan of foreign movies because I think they're generally done better and they're more realistic. Did you see any of the Danish version of the girl with the dragon tattoo?
The Danish version, no.
The Danish people made 3 versions of that, and then the Americans made 3 versions of it to match the books. I thought the Danish versions were better. I really did. Okay. And the American versions weren't bad. I was expected to be disappointed. They were not bad at all, but the Danish versions were better. And there's a lack of pretense to them. I don't know what it is, but
I'll put it on the list. Well, see, that's what they used to say about foreign films and the people that went to see them, that it was all about pretension. No, they were just good movies.
Yeah,
they were just good movies.
Yeah,
that's all.
Yeah. So, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino said this week that Jeffrey Epstein's death actually was a suicide. Do you buy it?
I do, because there's absolutely no reason for these guys to do anything else. You can imagine that when they got the jobs that they have, that they were just champing at the bit, going, oh boy, now finally. And it's like the JFK assassination. Everybody's just kind of going, oh, I guess it really was what it was.
Okay. Now, I just had last Monday, a week ago today, I had Robert Tannenbaum, who was the deputy chief counsel for the 1978 congressional hearings, and his book, and I think I told you about this briefly.
Yes.
His book came out, and he says he has proved, well, this is the thing, and I held him to this. His book is subtitled, Lee Harvey Oswald Did Not Kill JFK. And what I held him to is that, no, you're saying, no, what it really should be is Lee Harvey Oswald did not kill JFK alone. It's almost certain that Oswald was involved. There's almost no doubt to that.
Yeah.
But so the question is, was he the only shooter or was he one of several? And I think that Tannenbaum and also others have now proved there was more than one shooter in the plaza, but one of them was probably Oswald. Oh, the really weird thing is, Don, if you really get into this, there's no actual proof that Oswald was in the window shooting either. He was definitely in the building. He was definitely working for the CIA and the FBI. That's beyond doubt at this point.
Okay, well,
But he
so
was
they posit that he was working for the CIA and all these other.
Yeah, that has been definitively determined now that he was a CIA operative, right?
Well,
Right.
I promise you that I will read that. I find it extremely hard to believe, but if you say that there's bona fide proof to this, I will be happy to read it and see what that is. But like I have a hard time buying that.
And Tannenbaum, he had to admit that he could not actually say that. He couldn't say that Oswald wasn't involved. He could not say that, But yeah. So anyway, you'll have you should. The book is a very fast read. It's very I have to put it up on our blog. I have not put a link up to it yet because I'm a bad man. But yeah, no, it was really interesting talking to him. It really was. It was
okay. I will check it out. But to answer your question, just once again, yes. I mean, when stuff just seems too good to be true, and I mean, when the pieces fall together, you have to kind of accept that a lot of things are very possible, and I think this whole thing with Epstein, I can accept that the guards at this place were incompetent because there is an absolute epidemic of my computer.
The cameras went out just like your camera goes out.
yeah. But I think there is an epidemic of incompetence in so many facets of our lives.
Yes.
Right now that I really can buy. Look at this recent thing with the 10 cons that escaped from New Orleans. Right. Yes, right. They had help, but I mean, would it be any big revelation that New Orleans in general and Louisiana in general is just incredibly corrupt? I mean, you just have to kind of accept that going in. So I don't know what kind of help they may have had from the inside, but this one seems fairly obvious.
It's 2025. Can you name any government entity anywhere in America that isn't corrupt?
Well, no. I mean, see, that's an interesting question that you asked, because yes, I'm very quick to say that I can't, but do I have proof other than just knowing that these things run very badly? In other words, there's corruption and then there's incompetence. Incompetence is way easier to achieve than corruption. Corruption takes a lot of cooperation. And this is why I could never buy the whole conspiracy thing with JFK, because the sheer number of people that you would need to keep things secret. Forget about the files. People love to talk. People get drunk. People say things to the wrong people. And none of that has ever really surfaced. This has all been conjecture by a lot of people who never even read the Warren report. So, it's just like they can't believe, okay, take, to use a horrible example, but take the Holocaust. A lot of people could not believe that 6 million Jews, 6 million, and that was just of the Jews. Forget about all the other ancillary people that were killed. They just, on the face of it, could not believe it. And therefore, something else must have been afoot. And I think it's just human nature to do that. And I tend to accept the most. I tend to accept things that are just easy to believe.
Yeah, but there's another way to look at that, completely opposite direction too. An ideal, especially, and I don't know, I don't even know if you buy this. When we talk about the show on the show constantly about the UFO question, and
Yeah.
the question with that is that there would be hundreds and maybe even thousands of people that would be aware of this, and they'd all have to keep it secret. And then, but my argument is, well, they haven't. They haven't kept it secret. People have been coming out for 40 years saying I work for the government, and no one's ever been believed.
Right.
I mean, now we're getting to the point now because of what's going on. People are finally starting to be, credible people are coming forward, and they're starting to actually believe. But that took
and I guess the big difference there, Jim, is that I think from the start, nobody ever said that there aren't UFOs. They just said we haven't confirmed it. But at the same time, they would say, well, no, it certainly is possible. We just don't, quote, have the evidence.
Yeah,
they say, which is probably a big lie. But
hold it. I just thought of something, just literally off the top of my head, about that and the Holocaust thing has in common, and that is the problem with UFOs and the Holocaust is nobody wanted to believe it.
Right.
There's that too. Nobody wants to believe they killed 6 million Jews.
Right.
People say, well, no, that couldn't happen.
Right.
And
we sort of have the same thing happening again with these kids at these universities.
Yeah.
The ones who are out there protesting and have no idea what they're protesting about, and don't even have a clue as to what's been going on in the Middle East and wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And they okay, let's go even further. Why is it that the Democrats don't want women that are considering abortion? Why is it that they don't want them to see what an abortion procedure looks like? Right? I mean, there's a very clear reason, because if they saw a baby being mangled up in its most nascent form, they would throw up and then say, no, I'll have this child, and then the Democrats are screwed. So again, it's this. I bring up all these different things just to say that it's all part of the human condition to believe certain things, to choose to not believe other things. And I'm not saying that I'm right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that this is
totally understand. And you're right. I agree with you. It's part of the human condition to believe some things and not to believe other things. I was just I can't remember who I was talking to about the fact that oh God, I'm losing my train of thought. This is what happens when you're 6 months away from something.
You're right on schedule, babe. It's usually right around. You got, whatever it was that they were giving Biden before the debates. That's what they got to give you. See if you can talk to your doctor about that.
Every night at 7 o'clock, right in the butt.
It's like brain Viagra or something like that.
Oh,
the problem is we'll be able to fit you into the screen.
Don, I'm really trying to retrieve this right now. So because I had a
but I'm trying to distract you. Give me a fucking break. We can talk about P. Diddy. What a piece of work that guy.
You know something, Don? Yeah. You in your youth, you were involved in the entertainment business, and I was too. Yeah. This never surprised me because I know what that guy's record sales were, and I could never put together the amount of money he supposedly had and spent. The guy wasn't that great a music artist in terms of sales. He never was. I thought something's got to be going on here. I doubted this for years.
Yeah, I'm happy to say I've never heard any of his stuff, but I tend to agree with you. There's a I mean, remember, the mafia had its hands inside, in the entertainment business as well.
Oh yeah,
that whole Johnny Fontaine thing in The Godfather, that was all based on the way things were, and people wanting a piece of this and a piece of that, and providing you with opportunities you didn't really deserve, all that. So no, this guy, what a gigantic waste of flesh. He's a horrible person.
Yes,
horrible person.
Right. Yeah,
and it really bothers me to my core that any young people look at these. I won't say all rap artists, I guess, but the gangster rap characters. Oh man, I just think there are better uses for your brain than this garbage.
Well, I think when when they do that like that, in 2040 when they do that 2020 show or whatever they're going to call it, uh,
Okay.
like that 70s show, and they look back.
Okay.
I
Okay. Oh yeah, gotcha. Okay.
I think the thing that the comedic one of the comedic points will be the influencer, the social media influencer. And
Yes.
this is such a ridiculous thing. It's unbelievable. But you got
Yes.
people making serious money. I mean,
Yes, that the OnlyFans thing.
yeah.
I I just don't get it. I'm speechless because I don't get men spending the amount of money that apparently they are,
Yeah. Yeah.
for these, full of rocks. Okay, I guess they're very beautiful or something, and what they do. What is it exactly they do? Is it like always a one-on-one thing, or is it something where
Actually,
a lot
it's
of people tune in? How does this work?
all sorts of different stuff. But the thing that really, really I do not understand at all is the whole thing with women's feet, the obsession with women. There are guys
Wait, what?
that what
What?
they're you don't even know about this?
I have missed this. I have managed to miss. So the foot fetish has now become a thing
Oh yes, a total
again.
yes, and it's being monetized, and there are guys who spend big money to have women just look at women's feet. I just find this unbelievable. I don't understand it at all. But yeah, this is a real thing, and there's women getting rich off of this.
Just shoot me now, honestly, man.
I mean,
God.
that's not even porn, is it? I don't even.
No, I don't know what it is. I mean, I guess this is why they invented the word fetish.
Yeah.
But no, I have to say this is a new one on me.
Oh, okay.
I have not heard this. I mean, I've heard of foot fetish and all that, and I don't understand it. But some people like to look at and touch toes and things
Yes,
like that. I guess there's someone for everybody, isn't there?
And to their credit too, there are a lot of women. I don't know if it's a majority, but there's a sizable amount who are making money on OnlyFans, not really exposing private parts of their body. In other words, they're bikini, they're doing bikini shots and that sort of stuff, So,
Okay.
and God bless them. So I suppose, I guess, I don't know if you'd call that pure or clean, but it's like,
I don't know what you call it. It's just I just hope that whoever they are, I don't want to hear them ever talk about people, subjugating women's bodies or whatever the hell they say. This is a really crazy world, Jim.
yes, it is.
And I do. So are we societally right now? What are we exactly in the middle of? Because on the one hand, you've got the lunacy that has been created by the trans people and what they earnestly believe. Then you've got the Frontier Spirit Airlines crowd of people that have absolutely no compunction about just screaming, creating a scene. You've got Carnival Cruises now, which has become this place that's like a Frontier Airlines on the water or Spirit Airlines on the water. Nobody feels beholden to anything anymore,
I know.
except for the few of us. And is our size now increasing? You've got all these college students that are attending the Charlie Kirk promotions that he does there. I really don't know what direction this earth is spinning in. I really don't. Whether we're in the middle of a revolution, or, as I like to say, a counter revolution.
Well, here's a theory. I'll throw a theory out to you.
Okay.
First of all, there's more people on the planet, both in the country and on the planet generally, than there were like 40 or 50 years ago. So if you're going to go into the assumption that the number of crazy people, or the percentage is static, that means that there's more crazy people because there are more people in general, right?
Okay, fair enough.
And so you don't need more crazy people get onto more airplanes and do more crazy things, and now we have a social media or a press. It's not really a press, but a media that reports virtually everything. So more
Yeah.
people are doing it, and more people are hearing about it. Both.
Right. So you have more people hearing about things that on a percentage wise are fewer but greater in number.
Yes, right. The
And,
percent.
yeah.
I would say the percentage is the same, but yeah, it's actually greater in number. Right.
So then the solution is for people not to pay attention to anything on the internet except for the Jim Peters at Night show.
That's correct.
And this will be your little oasis of sanity, ladies and
That's
gentlemen.
correct. That's
Well, I'm
correct.
going to assume gentlemen, because ladies will have nothing to do with this show.
No.
Except for Jennifer. God bless Jennifer.
Yeah, that's right. No, I don't think many women will.
We can only hope they don't.
Yeah. Well, you and I, we go back to the whole Conk News thing, so we've been doing this
That's
now
right.
4 or 5 years, and even back then, I don't think we've had more than half a dozen women ever call into the show ever. Even going back 4 or 5 years.
I don't even remember. If you did, I wasn't on those days. Yeah, I mean, for those.
Or you might have been out, but I mean, yeah, I don't. Right, not even a handful. Right, maybe 2 or 3 at the most over 5 years.
Hey, can we get Caitlin Clark to call? She's my hero,
Yeah, well, that's good. She should be, lionized.
Have you seen the you saw the recent kerfuffle with her and Angel Reese, right?
I didn't actually see it. I've heard about it. I didn't see it.
So here's what happened. Angel Reese, of course, was behaving horribly because she can't really play as well as she thinks she does, and she winds up doing a two-handed shove to one of the Indiana players, and Caitlin's standing there looking at the ref like, what the hell? And then Reese gets the ball, and Caitlin says, well, to hell with it. And she goes up there and does this mild hack on her as well. And of course, Angel just goes flying, better than Peter Pan ever could.
Uh-huh.
And this is and she gets hit with this flagrant foul thing. And Angel Reese, as always, just kind of goes unnoticed.
Yeah,
and she does. It's like watching WWE. That's where we are with WNBA now. It literally is worldwide wrestling again. Yeah, it is, and for all the same reasons. It just, people have this morbid curiosity about what's going on, and it's good guy, bad guy, just like the wrestling we used to watch on Saturday nights.
Yeah. Or Cops and Robbers when we were a kid.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So I'll throw one more thing out to you here too. So Jack Brewer, who is a former Minnesota Viking, doesn't live in the state anymore, I don't think. He's talking about how Minnesota's going to hell because we still have this thing where we're one of the states that are letting biological men play on females' teams.
And they're very proud of it, aren't they?
Yeah. And I have to bring this up because this is a kind of a bone in my craw about the fact he blames Keith Ellison. And I think I told you I actually had dealings with Keith Ellison about 3 years ago. And I don't know if I've ever met a person that made a worse first impression. I mean, this guy, and I've said the opposite about Governor Walz. I have to admit, I met him too. I dealt with him. He seemed like a reasonable person. I mean, I don't know if I'd vote for the guy, but I had no problem with him personally. Ellison was exactly the opposite. I can't tell you. He just came off as just a jackass. He just did. And, it's like, and this guy's, he's the Attorney General of the state of Minnesota. Yeah.
Well, this is a guy who, what was he before AG? Was he a congressman or what? He had a position with Obama. What the hell was he?
I can't remember.
Was he some sort of? Well, he's the district attorney here, and I don't remember what his position was. But the point is that Ellison is now part of this crew of people that feel very safe doing and saying virtually anything that they want, and they know very well what the big protection that they have, and that is the color of their skin.
Yeah.
They have a protection that nobody else seems to be able to do, the stuff that they get away with. Everybody else just kind of sits and looks at their shoes, while guys like Ellison will come off to you however he wants, acting big and tough. And I tell you, we are heading now towards a point in the middle of this counter revolution where there's going to be a big comeuppance. There's a kind of fatigue out there, and people are sick to death of it.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to see small pockets of resistance where people are saying, no, you can't act all entitled. You can't act all tough in front of me, because I am going to call you out on this. And all I hear in response is a lot of very fast talking, and, as you would imagine, nothing of any kind of substance. I'm telling you that this whole mentality that we are seeing from people who think they're entitled to everything, that pretend not to know that the law doesn't apply to them, this is very slowly but surely going to begin to end. I think it is beginning to end right now.
John, do you think that maybe the reason it's continuing is literally just out of habit? Because, I mean, I don't have to point it out. On a federal level, the Democrats are not in charge right now, and yet they're still doing this stuff. And then this woman, this female judge over in Wisconsin, she helps the illegal migrant out, and she gets arrested, and everybody's calling, oh my God, that's terrible. They're clutching their pearls. And
not everybody though. See, that's the thing.
Exactly right. That's exactly. In other words, I'm agreeing with you. But she just assumed that she could get away with this, and I don't think she's going to.
Right, and that's it. We are now past that point where people can take this kind of maladaptive behavior for granted.
Yeah,
I think they're done. And there will be more and more and more pockets of resistance saying, you can't do that. You have to be civilized. You have to be able to be civilized from now on. And we're just not going to let this continue. Period.
Yeah. All right. So, can you tell me how many people you've killed with their bare hands?
I used to have this little toothpick container, the kind of, and every time I killed somebody, I'd have to take one out. And you know how many toothpick containers I've gone through? A lot.
You've lost count.
I've lost count.
Yeah, I've lost count of the number of times I've been fired, so it's fine. It's fine. I've lost count of that too.
But if you got fired, it was because you just didn't notice certain things around you. Like you did not notice something missing from my upper lip.
Oh, yes, I did.
No, tell me you did now.
No, I did. I did because I was kind of taken aback when you first came on, because
this is the younger version now. This is I decided to take 20 years off of my appearance.
How long have you had it?
Oh, I've had it since I was a kid, but on and off. And as everybody who has a mustache knows, half of the fun is that when you shave it off, is making little funny shapes with it. And it always ends up in like a little Hitler thing.
Yeah. Well, right, yeah. And so, I was talking to somebody about the fact, and I'm a conspiracy theorist, so you probably think I'm nuts too, about the fact that there's no proof. There's more evidence that Hitler escaped to Argentina than he died in the bunker. No, don't laugh. There actually is. But
yes, I'm gonna laugh. Jesus.
They never found his body. The Russians thought they had his body, and then in 2006 they did DNA, and it wasn't.
I've got it.
Yeah. Okay.
It's in my basement.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. if you're Hitler, you stop and think about this. No one ever saw him in public life without that mustache. You shave that off, 5 minutes, the best disguise in the world. You can walk
That's
around,
right.
you know who you are. You know,
This is your German Clark Kent. Uberman. Oh.
oh my God, Uberman.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey,
Yes.
I think that'll make the highlight reel, Don.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, okay, great. I get a Hitler reference for highlights.
Oh my God.
Such is my lot.
All right, I'm going to let you go, my friend. I
All
really
right,
appreciate
bud.
this. It's always
Always
fun.
good to chat with you.
Always ours. You take care, all right? We'll talk to you soon.
Take care. Be good. See you later.
Oh, I'm trying to touch a Don Zorro, lover of women, international man of mystery, and yes, intelligence operative. So yeah, so we got him going on. So this is part 2 of our show. I'm going to talk a little about that. We got a lot of UFO news. You know, we missed Wednesday and Thursday last week, very suddenly. I'm going to tell you what happened. So on Wednesday afternoon, I and my cousin Mark went to see our mutual cousin Andy in the hospital here in Minneapolis. So Andy had a successful operation to remove a cancerous tumor that was successful, and then he started chemo. He had an allergic reaction to the chemo, and that he really messed him up. The previous when it happened, it almost killed him, but he recovered and he's in the hospital. And I have to tell you, I have to preface this before I go on here. That is, was a little concerned about telling you about this, but I'm not going to give you enough information so that you could ever identify these people. So, any rate, we went to see Andy, and he had some friends there, and we're all talking, we're getting along, having a good time, and we're about an hour and a half into our little visit, and Mark and I are talking to Andy, and Andy dies right in the middle of our conversation. He dies in mid-sentence. I'm looking right at him, and he checked out. Now, I'm laughing because this is, it's not funny, but it is unusual. You got to hand that. So now Mark and I are, we are now the relatives on site. So even though we're not his closest relatives, but we're the people who are there. And so we ended up having to do a bunch of paperwork, and there's he was a vet, so there's veteran stuff that go on. Anyway, we were there about 9-10 hours because of this. But yeah, Andy died right in front of us, and it was not expected at all, not the least bit. That's the really weird part. So, any rate, yeah. So first of all, like I said, I was there till about 10 p.m. So that took care of Wednesday's show. On Thursday, I woke up. I felt like somebody beat me up. I mean, the stress of that situation was so intense that I was just absolutely wiped out. I couldn't do a thing. Matter of fact, that was basically lasted till last night. So I'm here trying to get my shit together now. And yeah, call in. I should have said you could call in, although the tickers on the bottom of the screen. You could call in and talk to Don too. It's 325-225-5546. That's 325-CALL-JIM. And you can call the number 24 hours a day and leave a message when we're not broadcasting live. It takes messages. You got 2 minutes to say whatever you want. And I urge you to do that. Love to get your messages. And also, you can text us at 408-458-5088. That number's on the bottom of the screen, too, like right here. There it is. See? It's going by. It's going by your face. So, and in the meantime, we got it's like kind of a little newscast, except we talk about crap that nobody else will talk about. First of all, and speaking of my long week, I think our friend, Think is called in. Think, is that you?
Yep, it's me. Hey, Jim. Oh my God, what the heck, man? Your story about
yeah.
I forgot the name of the person you.
Andy.
Jim? What the heck? Andy.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
That's true. That really happened. I mean, I can't like overemphasize this. We're literally talking to him, and literally in mid sentence, he just checked out. Just like, I mean, I'm looking right at him, and he's talking, and then he's dead. It's like, and of course, you know how it is. It's the hospital. He flatlined, and all the machines go off, and everyone runs. I mean, it was pandemonium, but still, it's like, you don't. I don't know. It was I've been around people who've died before, but not that way. I got to tell you, like,
Man,
yeah.
that is
How you
that is
doing?
wow. I'm doing all right until I heard that story.
Yeah,
Man, that is
yeah,
pretty bad.
yeah. You think
Pretty
about that
bad.
tonight where you're going to
But
sleep.
Jim, let me ask you, because I think I'm just a little bit younger than you, but
Yeah,
every time you talk, it's like these are the types of things that I need to prepare for, like how you said your uncle is what, or I forgot
that was my
the person
cousin.
that died
Yeah,
recently.
that was my cousin. Yeah,
Your cousin,
yeah.
yeah, recently, and now this. Do you find that more and more people that were part of your generation growing up are they dying quicker,
Yes, no, they are.
or is it still?
No, think they are. They seem to be. It seems to be now. People. I mean, I'm 6 months away from 70. Like I was talking, Don and I are Don Zorro and I are 1 month apart in age, and it is. It seems like the last couple of years now, people in my life are passing away more and more. I've noticed this. So I mean, I suppose that's my mother's 100, and my mother, when she was around in the mid 70s, she said a bunch of her friends died, and I kind of handed it to my mother. My mother, she was pretty bummed out about that for a while, and she literally decided to go out and find a bunch of new friends, and she did. So but yeah, she talked about the same thing about people. Uh, she was a little older than I am now, but yeah, I think it seems to happen. Yeah,
I talked to you about your mom before, and my theory as to why your mom, she's older, right? Not that many people live to that age, 100.
yeah,
And I told you before that I feel that it's because of her survival, like what she experienced as a child.
yeah,
It instilled in her that the survival instinct,
right.
and I believe that a lot of people here in America, we have it so good that we don't have that survival instinct. I don't think people strive to want to live. I think people are just floating around.
Well,
Like we
well.
should.
Think is I first of all, I agree with you, but maybe they don't thrive, survive to live because they literally don't have to and don't know how.
That's right.
You
That's right.
know?
Do you think there could be a form of a sadness that uncomfortableness? I don't know. Well, what is the
Yeah,
term I'm trying to think? When you live life so comfortable, there's no excitement or some sort of motivation to keep going. Does that make sense? You're
yeah.
so. I'm not saying this about your friend Andy that
No,
died recently, but I see that in a lot of people here in America.
I agree. I
That
totally agree
there's
with you.
no, like, yeah, right. I think a lot of people here in America don't even get into a fight.
No,
I see a lot of the generation, even though they act tough and everything like that. A lot of the generation coming up right now, I don't think ever fist fought.
yeah,
Like even got into a fight, and it's stuff like that that puts these survival instincts in you, and this drive. That's the word I'm thinking of. A drive to want to live,
yeah,
and I think that a lot of without that drama is that the word I'm thinking of? Without the drama and these experiences, life and death experiences, you don't have that drive. You're just so comfortable, and it's almost like
well, and there's another thing too.
a level.
Have you noticed
Mhm.
this
Go
thing?
ahead. I'm sorry.
It seems like, especially this among people under 40, it seems like a lot of people are kind of looking for a reason to live. They don't see, they don't seem to have any sort of self-generated purpose. I think this is one of the reasons all the stuff that's going on at college campuses about this pro Hamas stuff. I think some of these kids have gravitated or latched onto this because it literally gives them a purpose to be alive, and they didn't have one previously because they didn't need one. You know, that all these kids, most of them grow up in affluent households. All their needs have been taken care of. They've never shown, because of that, they've never really had, they didn't have to and don't seem to have any internal development of any sort of purpose for living. So then they find this, or it's given to them, one or the other. And maybe you can tell me what the difference is there. I don't really know about the fact that, and so they latch onto it as a purpose for living.
That's exactly what I was. You got it. That's what I was trying to say before. I know when we talked about this earlier, I couldn't get my tongue on the proper way to say this, but you just said exactly what I was thinking that day, about the whole Hamas. If you look carefully at the ones that protest, now the leaders, they look fit, they look handsome, they're beautiful women and stuff. If you look carefully, the ones that are leading it are good looking people, but the followers, the ones that are holding the signs, and they are weirdos. If you really look at them, they're weirdos. They got the crazy hair, they're overweight, or they're really skinny, they're nerdy, they're weird looking people.
Yeah.
And it's exactly like you said. These people are just the outcasts.
Yeah.
And they never had like somebody, give them some sort of direction.
Yeah.
And as soon as these people that are telling them, hey, you be our friend, except we're for this side. And they never had a friend. Now they find that purpose.
Right. And so they end up protesting for something. You know, Queers for Palestine is the stupidest thing I've heard in 30 years. I mean, it's like, and not that there's anything wrong with being queer, and not there's necessarily anything wrong with being Palestine, Palestine, but you can't put those two things together. They're completely incompatible. And yet here we go, or gays for Gaza, it's like, yeah, okay. We'll throw you off a building.
Hey, Jim.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim, can you clarify this for me, please? I talked with my liberal friend. I'm telling you, I hate talking to her. But sometimes, the sexual attraction is more, it makes men do stupid stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hold on. I got to stop you. Are you still dealing with this woman you were telling me about time a while back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's only because of the sexual attraction. That's it. I hate her point of view. I don't know why she turned this way, but she has. But it's the only thing that I keep. She's at my age. It's hard to get like a lot of women.
Yeah.
So I guess and I just accept it, and I accept her weird. Her every time I'm around her, I don't want to talk politics. I want to talk stuff, but
she wants to talk politics. Okay.
Yeah, now she wants to talk politics.
Right.
So she said that. So,
you don't want to talk at all, do you?
Weird, right? Yeah, I don't want to talk. I'd rather her just shut up. But I guess she wants to.
Yeah, well, my friend, I know exactly what you're talking about.
We do some stupid.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, us guys, we do. Yeah. Just an example of how idiotic this girl is. I told her the whole Trojan War was based off of a man, of a woman. It was basically because of a woman why the Trojan War happened. And she said, no, it's not. It's just a bunch of men wanting to fight and conquer each other. Like, what? The whole Trojan War got started because of Helen.
Yeah.
And I tried to see, it's this type of idiocracy that I don't want to talk to her. If she was intelligent and she made good debates, but anyway, once in a while she does say things that I don't know if it's a fact or not.
Oh, hold it. Before you go on, I got to ask you. So, especially about the Trojan War thing, my experience is that women understand that men like them, but they don't understand how obsessed men can get with women, which, of course, is what the whole Trojan War was about. And so do you think that was the case here too? Right. Do you think that she literally doesn't understand that men will literally go nuts over a woman?
Yeah. I think she knows that I go nuts for her. Like I'll do anything to try to get her in bed and stuff like that. I know she knows that. And so she can behave the weirdest ways. But in terms of that story, she doesn't see it that way. If that's answering your question.
Yeah, it is.
I don't think she sees it that way. Where it's a woman's fault. You know what I mean? I don't think she has this ego, and I think majority of women have this ego where they're not at fault, even if it's not directly at them. I'm talking about a woman thousands of years ago, and she looks at it like it's her. When I said a woman, she automatically thought I was talking about her.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's that level of ego that most
Right.
women have.
Okay, and I got hold on. I got one
Yeah.
more thing before you go on. That's the other thing too. This is my experience of that is all women assume that all other women think just like them. And nothing could be further from the truth. So I mean, yeah, because you're talking about okay,
Really?
you do disagree with that?
Maybe it's the women that I know. Um,
'Cause-
no, I don't disagree.
Okay.
The Asian women tend to think alike. And when I say Asian, I should narrow it down. Vietnamese women tend to think almost exactly alike. Is he going to support me? Does he make enough money? Da da da.
Oh yeah.
That's an Asian woman. Whereas my liberal friend, she's on welfare. She doesn't care about like money at all. I mean, I offer her to get her all. No, I don't care.
Uh-huh.
She's happy with me just driving her around at night, and we go dumpster diving. Not dumpster diving, but I live in a rich area, and she doesn't. She lives in the inner city, and I took her. It was on her birthday. I took her out to eat, but then it wasn't fun. So I told her, today's trash day. You want to see what the people in my area throw out? And I drove her around to show the trash, and she was shocked.
Uh-huh.
And it was fun for her to see all that. It was enjoyable. She's simplistic like that. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It does. And also,
So
that's quite a story about the fact that I'm going to show you what the people in my neighborhood throw out. That's pretty cool. I got to hand it to you. That's good. Oh,
yeah.
man.
It's simple things like that. Like that I tell her, like the area I live in, the police sirens don't go off a lot, but when she's here, she's kind of scared of the quiet. I don't know how to explain it, but I show her things around my area, and it makes her happy just to see that.
Uh-huh.
She's okay with where she's living. She's okay with her family. She's okay with everything. And I idolize her life. She has a son that loves her to death. Even though she's poor, she has a son that calls her up. And I swear, I've never heard this. He's 15 years old, and when he's done talking to her, he says, "I love you, Mom." And that's a shocker for me, because my daughter, when I call her, she doesn't even say hello. I call her up, and this is what it is.
Yeah.
And that's typical Vietnamese women.
Right.
And she expects me to talk to her. And I buy my daughter gifts and everything. She doesn't even say thank you. I bought my daughter an electric bike when she was in Vietnam. I gave her $1,000, and I expected her to call me back like in a day or after she bought the bike. It was a week later. I call her up and I'm like, "Did you buy the bike?" "Oh yeah, I bought it." "Why didn't you tell me?" She didn't even say thank you or anything like that.
Yeah.
And to me, that was, to hear my friend's son say that to her was rather beautiful, and I idolize that. So I don't know why I brought that story up.
Well, hold on. I am curious. So, where did you meet this woman?
I used to go to high school with her. We went to an inner city. So I took an AP class. She was in my calculus class when I was younger.
Yeah.
Pre-calculus when I was younger, and she explained like the whole. I don't know if you ever took. I didn't understand it, and she explained it to me, and we became friends ever since. And then we just went out.
So
I heard you and Don talk about movies.
Yeah, you've known her for a while, then.
Yeah, I know her for a while, and thank God. When I came back to the States, she met me on Facebook, and we started. "Hey, you're still around?" "Yeah, yeah." And then we hooked up and started going to hang out and stuff like that.
That's cool. Well, it's good to have friends, man. It sounds like I'm being cynical, but I'm not. It is good to have friends, you know. Anyway, I actually interrupted you.
Yeah.
You were going to talk about. All right, you're talking to her about the fact you're trying to explain the fact that the Trojan War happened because a woman and she didn't buy it. That's where we left that. So what happened?
It's not the Trojan War. It was So I wanted to ask if you could explain more in detail this if what she said is true. And so she started saying because she's on the Palestine side of this
Uh-huh.
whole Palestine Israel thing, and I asked her, well, isn't Palestine trying to do ethnic cleansing on the Israelites? And she said, no, it's the other way around. That the Israel people, do I say Israels or Jewish? The Hebrew people,
Yeah.
they went into Palestine, took over the country, and now they're trying to eradicate the native people there, and they use the term ethnic cleansing. So they're the ones using the term, not the Palestinians. Is that true?
As far as I know, no. But the thing is, the kernel of truth to that is in 1948 when the Israelis actually got off the boat. You could make an argument that they actually took over Palestine. You could then. I don't now, and I think people are still pissed off about that. But the fact of the matter, it was 75, 80 years ago. I don't, like there's statute of limitations is a natural thing, don't you think? I mean, at some point it's over. It's just like, yeah, we treated the Native American Indians like complete utter crap, but it's too late. You know, it's like, so no, so no. Generally, as a, it's more. What's the word I'm looking for? It's more. It's it's more nuanced than just yes or no. But as a general rule, I think she's wrong.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I was basically just asking her, like, I don't understand why this war is going on, or why the United States needs to get involved in it. I hate to say this, Jim. I think this is very harsh that what I said, but I feel the United States should just let these two countries just duke it out, and whoever wins wins. I'm sorry. I just feel that the United States should not get involved. And this is my example for this. And I know I'm wrong, and I think in a weird way, but if my neighbors 3 blocks from me got into a fight with each other, I don't want to get involved in that.
No, you
Let
don't.
them settle it themselves.
Yeah.
Hmm?
I'm not necessarily. No, I'm not disagreeing with you here. It's like there's a very good. You're not the only person who thinks we should just like let hands off and just see which dog wins. It's no, because yeah, it's
Yeah.
like I mean you're absolutely right. I mean, at what point do you care? Okay, you're right. 3 blocks away, do you care? You maybe care if the two neighbors living on either side of you are fighting. Maybe you care about that. But 3 blocks away or 3 miles away, I mean, at what point, I know you get. I mean, not to mention the fact that it's like we keep going off to war and losing, or nothing ever happens. I mean, you went. I know you were in Vietnam, but I can't remember. Did you go over there to fight? Were you in?
No, no. My dad was a Navy SEAL in Vietnam. I went back
Yeah,
after college. I went back to go to work. So
right.
when I was born, the war was basically over.
Yeah. Okay.
But no,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah. So I
we
wasn't
lost
there
I
during
don't have to
that.
tell you, we lost 55,000 people, and a month after we pulled out, the South Vietnamese lost. I mean, it's like what was the point? It's like the point is a whole
Yeah,
bunch of people got rich and then a whole bunch of people died. That's the point. So I think
that's exactly it.
people are getting kind of tired of it, you know? It's like, and
Yeah,
Biden, bless his heart, never got he didn't understand. People weren't pissed about the fact he got out of Afghanistan. It was the way he did it. Wasn't that he wanted. He said, well, we did the right thing getting out. I don't think anybody, the vast majority of the people agreed with him on that. It's just that he screwed up the withdrawal. That was the problem, But yes, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, this is Trump. Trump, I got to hand it to him. He seems to feel really strongly about this. No more pointless wars. If we're going to go to war, let's fucking win. And if we're not going to win, let's not do it. What's the point?
that's right. I mean, this country is. If this country was not in debt and it had like trillions of dollars saved up and everything, yeah, go ahead. If you want to help and establish something like that, but this country is 31 trillion. Is it 31 or 40
37,
now?
37
It's
trillion.
30. Yeah, 37 trillion in debt. I remember when I was in high school, it was like or it was like, I think it was like 10 trillion, but the number was like, I remember the teacher was telling us every second it's like $10,000 in
Yeah,
interest. I was
right,
like, what the fuck? 10,000, yeah. And we're at 31 trillion in debt now. The country doesn't have money to be, I mean, this country can't afford it. So
right.
why? It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't make sense, and you're not the only person who's starting to think that way. It doesn't make sense. There's no, and then I don't understand this either. And I mean, I hate to harp on the Democrats constantly, but on this part, they're truly stupid. And that is, they're saying, well, the Republicans are going to dismantle Medicaid and all this sort of stuff, and all these kids are going to starve. But like you said, we're we're losing. I think we're right now. I think we're losing $5 billion a day. I think that's what it comes up to. Like you said, $10,000 a minute or whatever it is. It's $5 billion a day. It's got to stop. That's all there is to it. I mean, you just can't. We can't go on like this forever. We can't. At some point the economy will collapse. Something will happen that will, and the whole thing will completely utterly go to hell. And that will be the end of the United States. And nobody seems to understand this. And the other thing is too, and I think you understand this too. It, this was a bipartisan problem. We are both the Republicans and the Democrats have equally contributed to this massive debt. There's no doubt about that. The problem is right now somebody's trying to do something about it, and the other side that is not in power, which happens to be the Democrats, is actually fighting them, and that's hilarious. Yeah, we're talking about. It's like, yeah, we're talking about like holding somebody underwater, and like, should we let them go? Geez, I don't know, they might die. Well, yeah, but then they'll have to breathe. It's like crazy. It's just crazy crap. So, did you hear
Yeah,
Don?
the whole.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Well, what did he say? No,
I was
no,
going to say,
no. Go ahead, Jim. I
Don
was just gonna agree with you.
Don was talking about the fact that it's like a bizarre world, crazy times, and he's right. It is. There's so much crazy crap going on. It's unbelievable.
That's right. Recently, the whole thing in New Jersey with the mayor, just like what the hell? Like they're really taking it serious now.
Yeah,
That they're trying to make a point with this whole deportation thing, where a mayor is getting involved. I think these are. I'm not going to jinx it, but I can't say.
no, you say it.
I've been going to this very. Did you say it? I kind of feel these are like the first steps to a civil war. When a mayor actually is fighting against the government, and this is not the only mayor. There was a mayor recently that made a stance in court. I forgot her name. I think I forgot where she was. It she in? I forgot where she was, but she got arrested by ICE because she let one of the the immigrants, the illegal immigrant, free. Like she actually
Right.
argued against ICE, and she's like, no. And she took the immigrant into her office and let them out the back door or something like that. And they had to chase and catch this guy. And I think there was another incident like that too, where it happened in New York. And then there was another one in, I forgot where this one was, but this guy was letting this illegal immigrant who was a gang member living with him. He allowed this guy to live with him.
Yeah.
And I don't understand. Like,
No, it's
yeah, so
it's
you know the
crazy.
story. It makes no, yeah,
It does. Yeah,
yeah,
it makes no sense.
yeah. And then you have these weird women. Yeah, you have all these weird. I don't know. Well, I forgot his name. Is it something Jennings? He's on the CNN version of Fox has the round table, and then CNN has their version. But there's a Scott Jennings.
Yeah, Scott
He had
Jennings.
said that the Democratic Party, yeah, he said that the Democratic Party is a bunch of women. And I have to agree. It seems like it's all these women with their weird. Oh man, I'm sorry, Jim. I can't. I'm
Yeah.
going to go into some
No,
like
no, no. That's all right. We're both going to get
sexist
in
stuff,
trouble,
and
so it's fine. You're not the only one who's
I
pointed
just feel
out.
that this type of,
No, go ahead. Please finish. Go ahead.
yeah,
You're going to say what were you going to say?
yeah. I just yeah. I just feel that this like how I was telling you about the whole Helen of Troy thing with my friend, the liberal friend. where she just doesn't see things. She wants to see things her way, and I don't understand why these women can't see the reality. It makes no sense to me. Women makes no sense in terms of their mentality. Like with the nails, that they have these super long nails that are not functionable, but for some reason they think it's beautiful and that we like it. Do you look at women and say, "Hey, damn, that woman's got
No,
beautiful nails"?
no. But but you just touched on something. It's I mean the whole feminine beauty thing. It's like women do a whole bunch of stuff that they think men find attractive, and we don't. We don't care. I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
I mean, what would be another good example of that?
yeah.
Let me. Oh God, I just off the top of my head, I can't think of
Purses,
anything. But yeah, there's
the
a whole,
purses, the
yeah,
eyelashes.
right. Purses.
Yeah,
That's a yeah.
and then yeah, purses, eyelashes, and then the lips. I don't understand why women are injecting themselves. Like Madonna has it. All
Oh
these
God,
superstars, pop
right.
stars, they inject themselves and they look like dust,
Yeah, they
and
do.
they
I
think it's
know.
beautiful.
I
I don't.
know. It's
Yeah, so
terrible.
you know what I'm talking about? These huge lips.
Yes.
Yeah, it makes it makes no sense. Well, and
There's a
they spend all this. I don't know.
there's a news anchor here in Minneapolis, a young woman, and she is truly beautiful. I mean, this woman, and she's done it. And I'm thinking, what the hell? What are you doing? You're already just gorgeous. It's like, why don't you just leave it alone? You don't have to do this. I mean, it's like, what the fuck? I don't. No, I don't understand. I don't. I know they do. I know women do a lot of things to impress each other. I understand that. But if you ask them, they'll say they do it to attract men. But no, it's like because you're right. We don't care. We don't. It's like there's a whole bunch of stuff we don't care about. So it's like I don't know. I can't. You're asking
Yeah,
you're asking me to think you're asking me to figure out 2,000 years of feminine history. I can't do it.
yeah. I don't understand why women. I kind of wonder if this whole thin thing that men find women to be attractive when they're thin as opposed to when they're big. Have you seen the? It was during the late a long time ago. These little statues that they had. They carved it out of stone, and it was I forgot what they call it, fertility, these fertility stones where they carved this woman with huge breasts, a huge butt, and a huge belly, and they used to find these women beautiful. And I
Yeah,
wonder if women just out of nowhere they're like, I want to be thin because they looked at each other and like, I want to be thin, and now we find women that are attractive thin because women did this.
that's a
Do you
good
think that could
question.
be a
I
reason
don't
for
really
it?
know. I have my personal thing is, and so this is I will confess this to you. In my early 20s, I had a girlfriend for a couple of years that was extremely beautiful. I mean, I still have, there's one of my best friends now, still to this day, says that woman was still to this day the single most beautiful woman he's ever seen. I mean, this woman. I mean, I still remember we would walk into a room, and the thing is, she was a professional model too. We would walk into a room and people would gasp. I still remember this. So, but the thing is, she was, and this is the 1970s, and you're not that young, so you probably know what I'm talking about here. The kind of style in the 1970s, the style was for women to be quite thin and even small breasted. Big tits actually weren't a thing in the 1970s. There wasn't, and that's exactly what she looked like. She was thin, she was blonde, and she had small breasts. And there's just something, and I still wonder if my entire um paradigm of female beauty is based on her. So I can't I don't I've thought about this for a long time. I mean, I'm embarrassed to tell you this. This is almost 50 years ago now. Yeah, but still, I that's the type of woman I find really attractive. So I don't know. I don't. I The answer to your question for myself is I don't know. But the thing is, I mean, and now we got a different thing. Now we got the Kim Kardashian look, which is basically exactly what you were talking about. You were talking about huge tits, huge ass. It's like, and this is now a new paradigm of beauty. But that's not my personal paradigm. I don't. I can't. But I don't know. Sometimes I don't know if it's just a product of my times or if it's because I was with this particular woman. I can't really tell you. I'm kind of embarrassed by that, but whatever. You tell me.
Someone told me something. Someone told me this, and I take it to heart, and I still believe this, that women are beautiful to men is because they're opposite of a man.
Yeah,
That's why men find women attractive,
I think
because they're the
yes,
total opposite.
I
Like
totally agree with
men,
you. Yeah.
right?
Because you think now, for
Yeah.
example, I mean,
Like
I'm European, I'm Eastern European, I'm fairly dark skinned, I have dark hair, and I'm really attracted to extremely light skinned blonde people because in my mind they're completely exotic. I mean, I don't even understand where that comes from, you know. So I mean, yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Men basically find anything that's the opposite of them as exotic, right? I think that's true.
That's right. Like men find women attracted by the way they dress, like they wear dress, right?
Yeah,
And they show half of their breasts on top, and they wear lipstick and makeup, and they fix their hair in weird ways, and men find that attractive, right?
yeah,
Men don't find other men attractive. So if a woman were to dress like a man and I don't know, like a funky, like how men are, so the stereotype of a man is that they're dirty, that type of stuff, right? So if a woman was like that, like dirty jeans and stuff, we won't find them attractive. So if we were to see a woman like wearing dirty jeans because she was fixing our car, we won't find her as attractive. But if she has a sexy body, that's a different thing in itself.
hold it.
But
What did you say there?
for the
Then
majority of women,
I didn't hear what you said at the end there. So you
if she had a sexy body,
oh,
yeah. If she
okay,
has a sexy body, it doesn't matter what she's wearing.
that's
You
true.
know what
It
I mean?
doesn't,
I think women, yeah.
right?
But an ordinary woman, like, have you ever gotten when I had a gas engine car? I have an electric car now. When I had a gas engine car, I used to take it to Jiffy Lube to get the oil change,
Uh huh.
and there would be these women that do it, and I can tell that if they were to dress up, they look pretty, but they were dirty and oily, and I didn't find them attractive. I looked at them like they were another guy. In
Uh
fact,
huh.
I don't normally say this to women, but hey, can you do that again? I didn't see that. If a woman did, yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, yeah, great job. But the fact that this woman was looking like a guy, I kind of, I treated her like a guy instead of a woman. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's why guys find women beautiful, because they're the opposite.
Yeah.
I guess something along those lines. I
Well,
forgot where we're going with this.
well, yeah, I know. I was going to say we just solved all the world's problems, I guess.
Yeah,
Oh man. Well, I tell you
yeah.
what.
Oh,
Yeah. Go ahead. Please go.
be- before I head out, Jim, I've been wanting to ask you this. I know I asked you before. I'm gonna ask you one more time. Do you think it's possible that we might have a civil war in this country?
Yeah, I am starting to think. I see the same signs you were talking about, and it scares the crap out of me. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know because the thing is, it won't be by geography. It'll be by ideology, and that means like how do people how would we even split up to do it? But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I mean, if I was you to ask me to put betting odds on it, I'd say it isn't going to happen. That would be my betting odds, but I still think there's
yeah,
a good possibility it would. Yeah, and it scares the shit out of me.
yeah.
Think.
I've never seen the country this divided before, Jim. I've
Yeah,
never seen, and every time I talk to an older person or something like that, they tell me the same exact thing. They have never seen the country so divided. I heard you talking about movies earlier with Don, and I told you before too that every movie that's coming out has some sort of political message now,
yeah,
some sort of agenda now. That it's not a movie anymore. It's
right.
like pure propaganda, and they're not even trying to hide it anymore.
That's right.
And that's the main reason why I think a lot of people are not going to see the movies anymore, because there's no enjoyment in it. It's like watching someone telling you what to do,
Right.
how you should behave, how to act. And
Right.
nobody wants to see that. People go to the movies to get
Yeah.
carried away, live in a fantasy,
And then
or have excitement, not to be scolded.
And John Nolte on Breitbart think his proof of that, and you stop and think about this, the few movies that have been really successful are not like that. They are not preaching like the one that people use as examples, the Top Gun movie that came out a couple of years ago. It did huge business, enormous, and it's like it was not preachy, you know. Matter of fact, the only movie I can think of, and I never saw it, but supposedly the Barbie movie was a little preachy, just a little, but that was still really successful. But that's the only movie I can even think of where there was any preachy content at all, and then the movie was successful. It's like the few movies that succeed are exactly what you're talking about. They're just old time escapist entertainment, and I would say that's as much proof to what you're talking about as anything. You know, and all the other movies fail. All the rest of them, no one, no one. They're all preachy, and nobody wants to go see them, and they don't.
Yeah, I mean, a prime example of this is comic books. When I was growing up, I don't know any girl that read comic books. I couldn't have a conversation about Spider-Man, Thor with a girl because no girl knew anything about this.
Right.
But all the movies that are coming out right now, in terms of the superhero movies, have female roles in it. The main characters are women. I don't know if you know anything about the Fantastic Four. This is a movie coming out soon, and they have a character in there called the Silver Surfer. Now, the Silver Surfer is supposed to be a man, right? It's usually just a man. There is an iteration in comics from that has Silver Surfer as a woman, but it was like a few comics, not a lot. But anyway, they made this movie with a female Silver Surfer,
Yeah.
and it just makes no sense. They're gender swapping the role just because of this weird. I don't know what they're trying. I have ideas of what they're trying to do. They're population control, that type of stuff, and pushing the men's role down so that a woman's role can be stronger, maybe, or something like that. But it just makes no sense. It's
Well,
still propaganda. I don't care.
no, it
just
is.
makes no sense.
One of the problems,
Go, Jim.
if you want to call it a problem, think is that almost all the movie studios and broadcast companies are run by women now, and I don't know. I don't know if they're that being that calculated and that they were trying to put a message. They're just trying to promote females. Period. So that's what you end up with, And you're right. People. It's not that people don't want to see movies where with strong women in them. It's like, what is the point of casting a female in an obviously male part? Like historically, like you're talking about the Silver Surfer, or I think the real one that I find hilarious because this is crazy is they keep talking about a female James Bond. No, that's a different character. You're not going to have Jamie Bond is not going to exist. That's like bullshit. People go that character is male, and you put a female in there, well, you just ruined it. It's like come up with your own story, and there are stories about female spies. I mean, Christ, there's books written on them. Series, pick do one of those. But no, James Bond is not going to be a woman. If you make James Bond a woman, I can tell you, I'm not going to go. That's all there is to it. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So my question. I'm sorry, Jim.
No.
My question is, why would they do this though? That's my thing. Like I said, when I grew up, it was only men that read comic books. Why do suddenly they want to make all these movies and like James Bond? I mean, why are they pushing all this women empowerment? Do women? I don't understand this. Are women interested in this? I don't think women are even interested.
No, they
in this stuff.
They
but
aren't.
Out of nowhere, they do this.
You think about this thing that it's obvious they aren't interested because they're not going to the movies either, and that's been pointed out too. So you'd think if this was successful, no pun intended there. But if this whole thing was successful, you think more women would be going to the movies. They're not. The women aren't going either. So they're completely failing. And yet I mean, here's another example, and that is that whole Bud Light thing. So okay, you got Dylan Mulvaney, who and I don't normally necessarily want to talk badly about trans men, but Dylan McVeigh is not a trans man. He's a drag performer. That's the way I look at this. And I've been around enough of the gay community to know the difference. This guy's not serious, so he's doing this for a buck. And so the woman who actually hired him said, "Well, the problem is that the target market for Bud Light has always been basically like working class men." And she said, "Well, that's bad." Well, why is that bad? That's the thing. I mean, why? How did she make that assumption that that's bad? Because it isn't. You got people buying your beer. That's great. I mean, what's the problem? They're not buying it anymore. Because you talk about there's no bigger example in modern marketing history than Bud Light tanking. It's never come back. I mean, and it's not going to. That's not going to happen. No matter how many commercials they run, they permanently alienated their target market. But why did she think they had to replace those people? I mean, I don't understand. It's like she thinks, well, it's like, so apparently working class men, I mean, that's a bad thing. Well, screw you, lady. I mean, and not to mention, it's not even just that it's sexist, it's stupid. That's I don't know. You see, now you got me started. It's like, I'm gonna start bitching and moaning about everything. Dogs and cats
it's
living
the
together.
symbolism that the left is trying. It's the symbolism that they're fighting for. I don't understand why you're fighting for symbolism, and that's what they want. I think this is what it is. They know that the propaganda is working. The when you have all these messages, it has worked in the past.
Yeah,
Where you put these subliminal messages in, and it has worked. But they're trying to keep going with it. But I think now people are catching on to it. And
right.
It's like, no,
correct.
It's too blatant. It's too blatant.
That's
but yet they're still trying to do it.
I'm glad you corrected that, because I think you're absolutely right. I'm sorry to cut you off, but you're absolutely right about that. It worked for many, many years, but it's starting not to work anymore. But they don't know anything else, so they're still trying.
That's right. And Disney is one of the major companies that is still pushing this narrative. There's no way that it's 100%. Someone's paying off this company to make these dumbass movies.
Yeah.
I mean, Star Wars. I don't know any girl. I'm telling you, Jim. When I was younger, I couldn't have a conversation about Yoda with any girl, or even if I say Luke Skywalker to the girls when I was growing up, they wouldn't know who the hell I was talking about.
Right.
Well, I could talk to other guys, but if you look at the Star Wars films now, they're all lead female roles.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why they're pushing this type of narrative. It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Well, we're ugly, smelly men. That's the reason. And they and also, I mean, I hate to say this, a lot of these women are not heterosexual, and they're into women, and they like to see women. So there's that too. Yeah, so that's probably gonna get me in trouble, but I think that's true. I don't care.
Yeah. It might be. I don't know. I believe it's some sort of, if it's a natural population control or if it's a forced population control. I don't know what it is, but this type of stuff is definitely making a division amongst the sexes here in society. There's some sort of divide, and I believe that art can affect people
for sure,
in terms of their morals, their beliefs, all this.
Right, for sure.
When you have control of that, you can control the narrative.
Right.
And that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Whatever they're trying to do.
Yeah.
Whatever this whole thing is.
But like you said, though, we are not a communist country, so people can't be forced to go to the movies. And if people hear that movies aren't to their liking, they don't go. So therefore, in that sense, the propaganda can break down, and it seems to be breaking down now. But I certainly hope you're wrong. I hope we're not heading toward a civil war. But you're right. I gotta admit, I see the signs too.
Yeah.
So
Okay, good.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't. I would also agree with you that I don't think there's a civil war. But every time, I keep thinking there's no way. This is America. There's the branches watch over each other, and then everything's good. People here love this country, and then some BS happens, like that mayor breaking into ICE to make a political point. If it was a regular protester, I wouldn't say anything. But this is a mayor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A
Well,
mayor going there, and it was not just one mayor; it's a couple of mayors,
and
and they were taking political stance.
there's another thing about that particular incident too. Think I don't know if you know this, but so there were like 3 or 4 Congress people along with them. Now I can't speak for the mayors, but AOC said, and she's right about this, that because I don't understand specifically what's happening there, but there's a law that says that if those Congress people want to come in the facility, they have to be let in. And that's true. But the thing is, they didn't ask. They just came and tried to bust the door down.
Right.
If they had simply said, "We want to come in and see the facility," they would have been let in. That's the really crazy part. The whole thing was done for what's was performative. They did it to raise a ruckus because no one's keeping them out, but they did not ask to go inside. So no, because of that, nobody let them in. It's like just really crazy. The whole thing's really nuts. But I don't know. But they're thinking that people won't notice that. And I think
Yeah.
most people didn't.
Yeah, this it also happened at the Board of Education, right? Well, when I forgot what's her name, was that lady, all of them, they went to the Board of Education building and tried to demand to get in. They're making these political statements. I mean, I would think that these government buildings would allow them to come in, but like you said, call in advance. You can't just show up and hi, I need to go in without like a warrant or anything. You can't, even though it's a government building.
Yeah.
There's still procedures.
Right.
That you can't just walk in, no matter who you are.
Right.
Even the president can't enter my house unless you know what I mean. There's procedures.
Yeah.
So I don't. These are all political statements that they're trying to make. It has nothing. It's obvious. It's obvious. They're not trying to go in there. 3 Congress people, I think that's how many Congress, and then a mayor wanted to come and check to see if the water was up to par, the water standards and the cleanliness conditions. Come on, that's total BS.
Yeah. It is.
They just wanted to make a political statement.
Yeah.
It's all this theory.
Think I'm going to let you go because
Anyway,
I got 15 minutes left here, but I gotta admit I'm tired. I really
okay, yeah. Thanks for having me on.
I appreciate talking to you always. I always love when you call. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. So I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna wrap this up. Okay. All right. You take care. All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye bye. He's calling from upstate New York. He's a good man and a good thinker too. He always has some interesting take on something. So yeah, so we're gonna wrap this up for tonight, folks. So tomorrow night we got I want to make sure I get this guy's name right. I don't want to screw this up. Ryan McDermott. Right, I was going to say Russell. I'm glad I didn't. It's Ryan McDermott. He's a former Pentagon official and an Iraqi veteran, and his book is called Downriver: A Memoir of a Warrior Poet. So he's going to be a guest tomorrow night. And Wednesday, Miriam Heinen, who's written Operation George Floyd. And I'm really looking forward to talking to her because, we're in Minneapolis and she's talking about the actual events that happened in May of 2020 that basically started the whole summer of love and basically started like the whole thing. The thing being, 4 years, exactly what Think was talking about. 4 years of Joe Biden. So anyway, so that's our guest for the next couple of days, and Tim Conaway on Thursday. I want to thank you folks for watching and listening. I want to thank Don Zorro for joining us earlier. I want to thank Think for calling. I really appreciate you guys watching a lot. I appreciate it a lot. Good night, Uncle Donnie, wherever you are, and good night to you, wherever you may be. We'll see you tomorrow night, everybody. Take care.